Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Game of Thrones, The Lost Lord, episode 2 of 6 by Telltale Games. Just a warning, there will be spoilers as per the first episode, as we're talking about the decisions, not the gameplay or mechanics of the game. Now, you may be used to certain tones of JRPR controlling things, but this week we're reversing roles and I'll be asking Apps about a decision he made along the way as opposed to episode 1 where I was answering. Say hello, Apps.
Hello, guys.
Now, there are several different side stories expanding in episode 2, and I made a note of what I thought were some of the key decisions, so I'll be interested to see what you made of it.
You sure?
First things first, I think I'll just see what you thought of the episode as a whole compared to the first.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent episode. I have to say I probably preferred the first episode overall. I felt like the decisions were a lot more difficult to make, whereas I think in this one they seemed a little bit more obvious, and I didn't have much of a dilemma when choosing them. So I think it was still good, but not as good as episode 1, which I think was a pretty good episode and one of the better ones from Telltale Game and all their game series.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think you found yourself in much more of a dilemma. You didn't know, you sort of umming and ahhing, running out of time, whereas I thought on this one, in my head, as soon as it was unfolding, I was thinking, right, I know where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more obvious. And I think the shock factor at the end of episode 1 with Ethan getting stabbed in the neck, put a real exclamation mark on the end of it to say, right, this is brutal. Whereas I don't think it quite had that effect in episode 2, but nonetheless, it's still decent.
Yeah, I'd agree. So let's get into it. Let's get into the sort of main decisions here. So just a brief sort of overview of the episode. We find out Roderick's actually alive.
Yes.
So in the first episode, he was obviously crushed by a horse, and he thought, well, there's no way back, but he's there. You see Asher. He's about. He's trying to get an army with his uncle to go back with.
And he's the second-born son, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's the second-born son of the Foresters.
Yeah.
Who got expelled or exiled a few years back.
trying to bang this other girl from a rival.
I think it's the Whitehalls, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a real disaster. But anyway, and we sort of see a bit more of Garrett as well. He's at the wall. He's trying to make his way and sort of be a ranger up there. But
yeah.
The first major sort of decision, according to the game, is that you're Mira Forrester again.
Yep.
And she receives a letter from her mother asking for Marjorie to instruct the family of Elena. I think it's the Glenmores or something like that.
Glenmores, isn't it? Yeah.
Glenmores, that's it. Yeah. So there was sort of an arranged marriage there previously, but obviously Roderick's in a bit of a state. The house is in a bit of a state. So they're trying to basically get Marjorie to tell them to do it. So there's no doubt about that. So they can get the power of the Glenmores.
Yeah.
So you've got a choice here of whether you're loyal to Marjorie, or she walks out of the room and you can forge a letter on her behalf and send it off to instruct it. Now, where did you go?
Well, King's Landing is a bit of a viper pit, so I didn't really want to be messing around too much, and Marjorie is probably one of the only few allies that you've got with Mira, or it seems so at the moment. So rather than risk shattering that relationship, I babied out of it and didn't forge the letter and just sent the usual letter that I was requested to send. So did not forge the letter and thus left Roderick to charm it on his own. I was expecting him to pull it out of the bag, so I had confidence that with Roderick I'd be able to charm Elena, so I thought there's no need to be risking stuff here.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same for me. I mean, I thought I don't really want to be annoying Marjorie again, because I tried to get her to do something in the last episode and that really put a strain on it. So I thought, right, well, I best not be pissing her off again. I also backed myself with Roderick. I thought, well, it's in my own hands still. I still think I can do it, so I won't do that. And 78% would also agree with our decision. They didn't forge either, so that's quite a high percentage of people that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the points that I know I've watched a few videos of the developers when they've done the Walking Dead series, but I know they like to have an even split between like the decisions, and I think in this one, as we go through the stats, we'll see that there wasn't as an even split as there was in the first one. I think that supports my theory earlier on. I don't think the dilemma was quite there for these decisions.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, as you say, we'll see it in the stats.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next sort of major decision in the chronology of the game is that you find out that Cotter, now he is one of the fighters up at the wall. He has stolen another guy's knife, which was called Finn, and it seems pretty important to him.
Yeah, he
And,
loves that knife.
Yeah, he basically, it looks like he's going to go and kill Finn with his own knife. So you sort of think, well, he's a bit of an arsehole, Finn, but he's also a big bastard and might be coming useful. So you've got a bit of a dilemma there, but Finn basically finds out that Cotter might have the knife, and you're sort of stuck in the middle here, and you've got a chance to defend Cotter and say, nah, he hasn't took it, or you can go, yep, you see him, get him.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Well, because you said Finn's a big bastard, and Cotter he's a bit weedy. You know, earlier on in the episode, he fired a crossbow at his foot when he was practicing for that. Yeah. So he's having an absolute howler of a day. And Finn's a nasty piece of work. He's arrogant, cocky, just puts people down. And I can see why Cotter would have stolen the knife. You know, he's got very good reason to. And the way that Finn acts, he starts getting aggressive and shouting. You're in the middle, and to be honest, defend myself more than anything. I thought, well, I've got to stand up to him in case he bulldozes me out the way. So yeah, I stood up for Cotter and ended up having a ruck with Finn. Done him over though, of course. Not going to let him win. Weighed him off, but yeah, it happened so quickly that he didn't really get much of a chance to, you know, step back. And I thought, right, it's going to be a conflict here. I might as well get involved, and rather than just sitting back and then getting stunned as a bystander.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of trying to see how this one was sort of unfolding, and I was trying to sort of stay out of it without being too committal, really. I was sort of a bit like, well, but I think with this one, unless you literally go, he took it, he's got it, then I think it just leads you down the road of defending him. I mean, I ended up defending him and getting in a fight with Finn as well.
Yeah.
96% also did that. Again, so as you can see, there's so many people were led down that route, because I suppose most people are reluctant to go, yep, it's him. You don't really want to be a rat in that place. So
no, and because Finn was a bastard, you're not going to side with him anyway, I don't think, under any circumstances. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, that one. Again, 96%, that is massively high.
Yeah, I'd agree. It didn't really seem I think you're right. It was a no-brainer. You're sort of like, well, I don't really have much choice here. I'm not really going to rat him out, and I can't weasel out of it. So
I find it odd that that's one of the main 5 decisions.
Yeah,
they seem like there's more powerful ones. Yeah, it's weird, but I guess there's reasons behind that.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I can think of is it affects, obviously, the story further on. But I must admit, off the top of my head, I can't even really think any of the ones from episode 1 thus far having really a direct impact necessarily.
No, they tend to be minor sort of changes, because I think trying to write, you know, different story branches for 35 different choices is impossible. So
real pain in the testicles.
Yeah, I think they would. It's more about how people react around you usually. Like,
yeah,
you know, there's parts in The Walking Dead where it's quite clear that you can decide who lives and dies out of perhaps 2 people. So that has an impact, obviously, on who you can talk to in future episodes, because one person won't be there. But there's been none of that really here thus far. But they do tend to do a good job, Telltale, sort of tying things together and referencing your decisions later on. Then you'll think, fucking hell, why have I done that? And so hopefully all these decisions sort of tie back in a future episode.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the next decision.
Well, is this a decision? This is my point. Is this a decision?
Yeah.
I know it's the main 5, but it's more. You go on and what it is, but I would question whether I'd count it as a decision, because if I had decided, I know what I'd have chosen, but I just blew it.
Yeah. So this is where you are Roderick and Elena Glenmore comes along.
Yeah.
And you're sort of sitting down, you're having a chat.
Big time.
And yeah, I can see what you're saying here. You basically have to, one way or another, persuade her to marry you. Yeah. It's not a decision where she goes, right, do you want to marry me or not? And you go yes or no.
No.
You have to click the right buttons to make her marry you.
Yes.
So how did you get on?
Well, I got off to a great start, gave her a little sort of comedy intro, saying I was handsome. She sort of laughed, said she liked that. Sat her down, we was chatting. It seemed like it was going well, but you could tell that the Glenmores had noticed how fractured the Forresters are, and that although it was a pre-arranged marriage, in terms of business, you know, it's probably not going to benefit the Glenmores too much. Stupidly, I didn't really want to offer the Ironwood out as a sort of a bargain tool. I sort of thought, right, let's play it sort of emotionally and get her hooked in properly. But it turns out that her dad's obviously got quite a strong influence, and nope, she would not agree to marry Roderick, unfortunately, because it could damage the Glenmores going forward, and there's no sort of business opportunity for them. And you know, Roderick's left in the dark on mine now.
Yeah,
Crumbled.
I mean, I was sort of in a similar spot to you to start off with, so I was sort of trying to charm her into it, and it
Yeah.
seemed like initially she was buying it,
Yeah.
and then but she basically went, well, as much as I want to, it doesn't make good business sense. So I was like, right,
Yeah.
it's business, is it? It's business you're after.
Didn't pick up
I
on
was
that.
like, right, you can have half the ironwood then. And she went, yep. So I was like,
Yeah.
right, okay, good. And the way I see it at the minute, everyone wants some of the ironwood.
I don't
As
know,
far as I'm
yeah.
concerned, I've given her something I don't even have at the moment. So that's fine. That's a good business deal from me. So
Yeah, I wasn't happy because I think that could sting me later on, but you know,
I
I tried my best. I mean, again, it wasn't a decision. It was more that I just didn't pick the right options, and
yeah.
you know, maybe that's a case in real life. Maybe I'm just useless with women. Don't really know what they're after. Basically, it says all women are money grabbers. Really, that's what they're trying to say here.
Is it far off?
Well, it's not far off, is it? Because you give her the ironwood, she's like, "Yep, fine."
Exactly.
So, other questions to be asked about Telltale Games diversity.
So, I mean, this was one of the more difficult. I mean, I say decisions or split, but as I say, it's 45% of the people made Elena marry. So it's split very evenly, but as you say, it's not a choice. It's just if you press the right buttons. So we won't go into that too much more. But pretty much straight after, you're banging into another what the game would consider an important decision.
Yeah.
So Lord Whitehall bursts in and starts sort of shouting out and getting annoyed and stuff. Yeah, he is. He's really.
He's just a slob as well. He's just a slob prick. Like, it makes it worse. He's just an idiot.
So, I think this is part of the problem. And he comes in and he basically goes, right, bow to me, kiss the ring.
Fuck off.
What are you doing?
Definitely not. No, not when he's come bursting out of that. I've already just been blown out by Elena, so I'm like, fuck, I've really dropped the ball there. And then he comes steaming in, giving it the big one. And it's like, oh, kiss the ring. No chance. Not in front of her as well. I thought, right, there might be a sliver of hope that if I show some bollocks here and don't kiss it, then Elena will be like, oh, you know, Roderick's got some, you know, he knows what he's after. Maybe I'll change my mind. It didn't turn out that way, but there's no way I was doing that in front of, you know, Elena. And despite your mother's pleas to do this, because I think he offers a bargaining tool, doesn't he, that Ryan can attend your brother and your father's funeral, but I was like, look, Ryan can stay there with the Whitehalls. You know, he's out of the picture as far as I'm concerned. Mum's livid, but I was still thinking about Elena, thinking maybe I can sting this back, but turns out that nope. At least I saved face though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in the same position as you. She just agreed to marry me. I got someone in saying bow to me.
Yeah.
Mum's on at me going, no, bow so we can get Ryan. And I was like, no, he's all right. He'll do fine. I'm not bowing to this prick in front of my new missus. So I went, fuck off, get out. I ain't doing it. And he went, right, I'll take half your ironwood. I was like, go on then. It's either you take it. It's this slut next to me. It's much for much just now. We ain't got any left, mate. So that's not worrying me.
Not bothered at his ironwood.
That's what I care about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, 70% didn't kiss him either. So again, that's a majority decision that went, no, you're a prick, not doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the final decision.
Sure.
So your mirror. Someone left you a note saying, meet me at midnight, I'll help you out, basically. That's what it seemed to me.
All sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? It's at King's Landing again, and you think, well, who is this and what is this?
Yeah, so turns out to be a guy called Damien, who appears to be a knight fighting for the Lannisters.
Yeah.
He claims that Mira's made enemies with the wrong people. I mean, I can only think probably Cersei, really.
Yeah.
So he tries to kill Mira.
Yep.
Little servant guy pops up and distracts him. You've got the chance to go and stick one in his back.
Yep.
Get him, knife him in the back.
Yep.
What do you do?
Well, again, I was thinking, should I just kill him off? So I've got a chance here to stab him. Or do I run off? But if I run off, I'm leaving this poor little coal boy servant pretty much to a death, really. He's not going to turn the tables on a royal guard. But again, it was just, I thought, I'm not leaving this coal guy just because he'd been quite useful in the previous episode and in this one. He seems like he gets a little bit of intel from just listening and eavesdropping. I thought he's going to be useful later. Damien, although he's a royal guard, I can wipe him out here and just get him out of it because, if I leave him to live, he's going to come back and get me again. So, got the knife, stuck it in him, ended up killing him, got out of there. That was what I did. There was no way I was letting Damien get away with that and leaving the coal boy to an early grieve.
Yeah. So I was sort of in a similar position. I did exactly the same. Stuck the knife in him and left it there. I thought, all right, I can't be leaving him here. I can't be. He's tried to kill me once. I
Yeah.
can't be let him get away with that. So I'll stick the knife in him and put him down. Let the coal boy get rid of the body.
Yeah. Did you keep
Night.
the knife with you, or did you throw it away? 'Cause you get an option afterwards, don't you? You can keep the knife.
Yes.
Or chuck it in the bushes.
Yep. I chucked it because I thought I don't want anything more to do with it.
I kept it. So let's now
Simple.
come back to my
I
sort of
didn't want the evidence.
digs.
So I was like, right, I've
No.
stabbed him. Get rid of the knife. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
But the only problem is there is a guard there that sees you, and I just think, oh, is he going to rattle me saying, well, you were there? And I'll be like, what are you talking about? I ain't seen anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should have kept that knife now, because like, that's the only thing really hard evidence can link Mira back to this murder. I guess it was self-defense, I'd say, but that could cost me in later episodes. Or hopeful, maybe it'll come in useful. Maybe I'll get attacked again and I can use it. But we'll see how that one pans out.
Yeah, so 92% again.
Jesus,
sort of killed him off.
That is high, isn't it?
Yeah, so again, it's another. I mean, most of them are really high, at least 70%, other than one of them. So all the decisions you have to make, excluding Elena, because that's not really a decision, are quite high and relatively straightforward. But
blown that,
I think as a quick last point, I think I'd like to just sort of see, because I haven't played the Walking Dead series, I'd just like you to quickly, in sort of 30 seconds, a minute, just sum up. Do you think it's too similar to The Walking Dead, or has it got enough of its own legs to carry it through?
I mean, obviously the mechanics are very similar. The way it feels is very, very similar. The way it looks, I'd say, looks quite a bit different, because The Walking Dead was cel-shaded graphics, and this is more, not realistic, but more down that line. They're not cel-shaded, so they don't fit in with like a comic book style. So it looks and feels the same, but the stories are more than different enough to do it. And the main thing about these games is the story and the narrative. So they're completely different, and there's different moral choices. And for that reason, yes, I think you can easily have both these and enjoy them. They're not too similar, because they've both got separate stories and they've both got good stories. I'd say the Walking Dead story was a lot more hard-hitting, but you know, we've got 4 more episodes of Game of Thrones, so who knows, that might overtake it later. But certainly, I think it's definitely worth a purchase, even if you've played the other Telltale titles.
There you go. So thanks for that, and hopefully at some point I'll still get to pick up The Walking Dead. It's been on my radar. You have been on at me to get it, so hopefully at some point I will. But thanks for everyone for watching anyway. We'll wrap this up. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We've got regular content going up sort of at the moment, something every couple of days at least. So keep watching. Thanks for your support, and thanks to Ats for joining me.
No worries. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Ta-da.